in a nutshell, superbly explains the process of human development or the history of human civilization. However, if we take a step back into history, we find that there were many curious incidents throughout human history. Humans have experienced a wide range of bizarre and unexplained events that have left people scratching their heads and questioning what really happened. From strange disappearances to unexplained phenomena, these incidents have puzzled even the most brilliant minds. We will discuss some hilarious dark secrets of the in a nutshell information sources, but first, let's take a look at some incidents. Mrs. Winslow's Soothing Syrup. Popular 19th century medicine Mrs. Winslow's Soothing Syrup was heavily laced with morphine, a highly addictive opioid that can cause respiratory failure and death. Despite marketed as a cure-all for common childhood ailments, it wasn't until the early 20th century that the true dangers of the syrup were exposed, leading to its removal from the market. This serves as a reminder of the importance of safety regulations for medicines. The dominance of men in ancient Rome. In ancient Rome, the family unit was the cornerstone of society. However, this family structure was dominated by men, with fathers holding immense power over their households. Fathers had the legal right to sell, disown, or even kill their family members. This power was enshrined in law, which gave fathers the authority to make life or death decisions for their families. This authority was often abused, with some fathers using it to assert their dominance and control over their families. Albert Einstein as Israel's first president. When Israel was first formed in 1948, the newly established country was in search of a president. And surprisingly, the country turned to one of the greatest minds of the 20th century. Albert Einstein was offered the presidency of Israel but declined the offer. Einstein declined the offer because he believed that he did not have the necessary skills to be a political leader. Although he declined the offer, Einstein continued to be a vocal advocate for the creation of Israel and a supporter of the country throughout his life. Bizarre role of King Henry VIII's groom of the stool. In the 16th century, the English King Henry VIII had a peculiar group of attendants. They were tasked with a strange job that involved monitoring the king's bowel movements. The grooms of the king's stool were responsible for examining the king's excrement and ensuring that his digestive system was functioning properly. Despite the unusual nature of their duties, all four of these men were eventually knighted for their service to the king. Although their job may seem strange to us today, the grooms of the king's stool played an important role in the health and well-being of one of England's most notorious monarchs. The Dancing Plague. The Dancing Plague of 1518, a strange phenomenon, occurred in Strasbourg, France. Hundreds of people began dancing uncontrollably and could not stop. This lasted for days, and some even danced until they collapsed and died. This event became known as the Dancing Plague, and to this day, nobody knows what caused it. The Pirate Queen. In the world of piracy, there are few names as feared and respected as Qing Shi. But what many don't know is that this legendary pirate was actually a former prostitute from China who rose to power and commanded a fleet of more than 1,500 ships and 80,000 sailors. Qing Shi was not only a skilled strategist and fierce fighter, but she was also known for her strict code of conduct, which kept her crew in line and made her one of the most successful pirates in history. The dark side of Italy's Renaissance. Italy's Renaissance period is often celebrated for its great works of art, literature, and architecture. But there's a dark side to this period that is often overlooked. Sailors returning from the New World brought with them a massive outbreak of syphilis, a disease that would change the course of European history. The disease spread through an entire French army, and the troops then brought what would become known as the Great Pox to the rest of Europe. With no antibiotics back then, the disease was able to spread unchecked, and its effects were nasty. The skin on victims' faces would essentially rot away from the disease's grisly ulcers. In some cases, the noses, lips, or other body parts of the affected people were essentially gone. The Rhode Island accused vampire. You've undoubtedly heard of the Salem witch trials, but have you heard about the Rhode Island accused vampire? In the late 1800s, a mysterious disease called consumption, now known as tuberculosis, spread through Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Vermont. People didn't know what to make of it. Victims of the disease looked sunken, pallid, and drained. It was assumed they'd fallen prey to vampires. So, naturally, a vampire hunt soon commenced. In Exeter, Rhode Island, members of one family were dying one after the other. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, these stories are enough to make anyone wonder what really happened. So, which of these strange incidents do you find the most intriguing? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos about the weird and wonderful aspects of our world.